Hey everyone, so shopping for a new CPU is challenging. You look at the specs, you may get that one thing is better, but really you don't know why. It's just, you know that number is better than the other number. So here in this video, I'm gonna go through the ones that I think apply to everyone and explain them in some way, hopefully. No pressure. So firstly, let's talk about LGA and PGA. LGA means light grid array. It's what Intel uses. It's when your CPU just has the contact points on it and your motherboard has the pins. And the numbers that follow it, so LGA 1151, means that there's 1151 contact points on the CPU and that many pins on the motherboard. So that's pretty simple. PGA is pin grid array. It's what AMD uses for their Ryzen CPUs. So the pins are on the CPU. Although I'm not quite sure about the EPYC CPUs that AMD produces for the server market, but their Threadripper CPUs, their workstation CPUs, aren't a PGA socket, they are LGA socket. Alright, so now to the more fun specs, the more important ones. Really, LGA and PGA wasn't the most important spec. Here we go, clock speed. Pretty simple, faster is better, or the higher number, the better. But there's been a few cases where I have heard that a CPU with a higher IPC, or otherwise known as instructions per clock cycle, can perform better. So basically what that means is you can have a CPU with a really good IPC, but, well, probably not a bad clock cycle, but a more mediocre one. So let's say 3.7 gigahertz could actually perform better than a CPU that has a lower IPC, but runs at, let's say, 4 gigahertz. So that is possible, that the slower the speed could perform better because it's got a better IPC. But generally speaking, better gigahertz is a good indication that it is a better CPU. Now we have cores, or core count. And cores are, in my opinion, a funny thing. It depends on what you really want, and what you want might change. So it's challenging. So if you're building a gaming machine, really you only need 6, 8 cores. You don't really need anything above them. One thing to note is that when you're getting into higher core counts, your clock speeds will drop. So for gaming, you want better clock speeds. Games run off a world thread, basically, where one thread gets taxed the most and then it delegates to others, but that's a topic for another video. But if you're building a workstation PC, then you're going to be doing something like Blender, for example, or some other really taxing workstation task, then generally you want more cores because it allows a better computing process and you can get things done faster, because more cores is basically like having more brains in a way. So yes, workstation PC, more cores, gaming PC, less cores with better speed, basically. You still want a good core count for gaming for 2019. Of course, in saying that, if you're going to be building a machine for Photoshop or Premiere Pro, or other programs, do check what their preference is. But I know Photoshop and Premiere Pro prefer clock speed over cores, despite them being a more workstation productivity task. While we're on cores, let's talk about hyperthreading, or simultaneous multi-threading, so SMT. Hyperthreading is Intel's specification, SMT is what AMD uses, probably a few other companies as well, but Intel likes to have their own name. Basically, it virtually doubles your core count. So my CPU in my system is an 8700K. It's got 6 physical cores. It's got hyperthreading enabled. Virtually, it has 12. So it doubles your core count. It is an option that you can turn off or on, usually, 9 times out of 10. Not necessarily recommended. One thing to note though is, even though it doubles your core count, and really the technology behind it is more so it allows each core to work on 2 things at once. It allows them to multitask. Instead of each core only handling one thing at a time, it allows the cores to multitask. So that's how it works. It doesn't double your performance. There's been cases where that has been proven. I watched, I think it was a Jay's 2 cents video, and he turned hyperthreading off and it didn't half for performance. There was a performance drop, but it didn't halve it. So hopefully that makes sense. Next thing we have is cache, and cache is kind of like RAM in a way. It's memory that is on the CPU itself, so it can be accessed a lot faster than what the memory in RAM can be. Cache comes in different levels. There's like L1, L2, L3. The most important one for gaming is the L3 cache, probably why AMD renamed its gaming cache for their Ryzen 3000 series. If you're building a gaming PC, look at that L3 cache, all right? That can actually be a big thing for you. So last thing we have is TDP, and it's basically a measure of how hot it gets, because CPUs get hot, it's got electricity going through, it's got voltage going through it, so it's got electrical heat coming out of it. So the thing with that is you need to cool it. AMD and Intel measure TDP differently. AMD measures it from the boost clock, so it's actually easier to pick a cooler for an AMD processor in that sense, because you know how hot it's going to be when it boosts. So you can get a cooler that allows it to keep that boosting for longer, especially with Ryzen 3000, since it boosts in a similar way that GPUs work. Intel, on the other hand, measures TDP from base clock. I believe they do that for their partners that do pre-builds. That way it gives their partners some idea of what cooling they need to put in for that CPU. It does make it more challenging for enthusiasts to pick an aftermarket cooler, whether it be air or liquid, in one way or another. Because you've really got a guessing game. You've got to, instead of just get it a little bit better, you've got to get it that little bit more than a little bit better. Lots of little bits here, so that you're allowing for when it boosts, because when it boosts, it's going to run faster, it's going to get hotter. And of course, for CPU speed, overclocking it will make it perform better. It would actually shorten the gap between IPC differences as well, but also it will increase the heat that the CPU creates, so increase its TDP. So you will need a better cooler if you're going to overclock than what you would if you weren't. So that's basically all I have for you today. That's all the main specs that I can think of outside of the different letters. So you got your K variants for Intel, you got your H variants, you got your HQ, your HK, all of them. I'll do those in a different video, probably do those in the next one actually, while I'm on the CPU topic. So yeah, that's all I have. Let me know in the comment section below if this video helped you out or not. But yes, I want to thank you all for watching. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. I hope to see you all next time in the next video. See ya.